In the heart of the Caribbean, the island of Jamaica faced one of its most trying times during the early 1980s, a time that would come to be remembered by many Jamaicans simply as the hungry days. These were the years when supermarkets were half empty, families stood in long lines for basic goods, and powdered milk and cooking oil became luxury items. This wasn't just a famine caused by nature, but a man-made economic and political disaster that stemmed from years of deep ideological conflict, both internally and globally. The 1970s had seen Jamaica under the leadership of Michael Manley, a charismatic democratic socialist who aligned his government with Cuba and sought to create a self-reliant Jamaican economy. Manley's People's National Party, PNP, introduced a range of social welfare programs, including free education, healthcare, and attempts at land reform. But his embrace of socialism came during the height of the Cold War, which made the United States nervous. By the late 1970s, Jamaica's economy was reeling from a combination of declining bauxite revenues, high oil prices, capital flight, and US-backed pressure through economic isolation. With International Monetary Fund, IMF loans came harsh austerity measures, including currency devaluation, budget cuts, and restrictions on imports, all of which set the stage for a major food crisis. In 1980, amid growing political violence and civil unrest, Edward Seaga of the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, won the general election in a landslide. Backed by the Reagan administration, Seaga promised to open up the economy and restore investor confidence. However, the transition was anything but smooth. While Seaga ended many of Manley's socialist policies, his pro-market shift came with its own consequences. Jamaica's economy shrank further under IMF conditions. Government spending was cut, the Jamaican dollar was devalued, and import restrictions became more severe. The country couldn't afford to import enough food, and domestic agricultural production had been undermined for years by dependence on imported goods and lack of investment. From Kingston to the hills of Clarendon, the everyday Jamaican was hit hard. Supermarkets often had no rice, no cooking oil, no flour, no soap. People would queue outside stores before sunrise, sometimes for hours, hoping to get basic supplies. Children were sent to school without breakfast, and hospitals struggled to feed patients. In many communities, powdered milk, corned beef, sardines, and even toilet paper became symbols of privilege. Rationing became common. In some areas, you could only buy 1 pound of flour or 1 tin of milk per household per week, if it was available at all. People began planting in backyards, reviving farming techniques, and bartering more than ever. Women created makeshift markets selling homegrown callaloo, yam, or ackee. Churches and community leaders held food drives. But even with these efforts, malnutrition increased, especially among children.